Okay, good evening. We'll call to order the regular meeting of the West Valley City Council. It is June 7th, 2022. It is 6:30 and we are in the council chambers of West Valley City Hall. We have Councilman Christensen and Councilman Harmon online, and the rest of us are in person. And then we'll move on to our opening ceremony, which will be by Councilman Norfelt.
Thanks, Mayor. Will everyone please join with me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. We will now move on to the minutes of May 24th, 2022. We'll turn it to the council. Is there any discussion or motion on the minutes?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 And the motion passes. We will now go to our comment period. And we will have our comment period is limited to 30 minutes. Any person wishing to speak shall keep their comments to 5 minutes and may only speak once during the comment period. After being recognized by the mayor, please come to the microphone and give us your name and address if you haven't put it on the form. Otherwise, just your name. Please address the mayor with your comments. This is your time to comment, not debate with the council. And the council and staff will have time to reply within the 30 minutes. So we will now open the public comment period.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I was told I've already said enough, but it's been several weeks since I've spoken because I've let the others talk. And so I've got kind of a long list.
Please give us your name.
Jim Visock. I wrote it on the papers. So. Okay. Several weeks ago, you voted on taking more control. I like seeing that where the council is still voting on things that let the city manager do it all, keeping that control from the city manager. I didn't get to speak that week, so that was kind of good. I like to see you even take more. Up on my soapbox, West Valley City events at the Maverick Center and other places still saying Salt Lake. There was one that I was at, and it's right there on the ice, West Valley City, Salt Lake City. How about Salt Lake City? It just, anybody that's been to an event that I've been at, you know how it irritates me. And it should be a simple fix. You know, when these Frankie Valla, he didn't say it, but his management team, they're the ones that say, welcome Salt Lake City. People cheer, and I'm like, we're not in Salt Lake City, we're in West Valley City. So let's see what else. Pay. Salt Lake County, just on one area, just raised their lifeguard pay $14 to $19 an hour because they're looking for guards. And so we need, once again, a sustainable pay of $15 an hour throughout the city. It's something we need to do for our people. There was on the news the other day, they were saying to be a homeowner in West Valley City, you need to be making over $65,000 an hour, or $65,000, yeah, an hour a year. And so that comes out to be right around $29 an hour to own a home in West Valley City. To be a rental, one bedroom, it was $1,577 on the last data that I saw. And that was about 3 months ago. So I think our city employees deserve to have a sustainable living wage. My hometown, the new CRC Center opened up a few weeks ago. Let's see, get my navigation. It's right up the street, not far from here. They had double the expected people there. Great turnout. They were so excited. Let's see, parking enforcement, semis. There's still, I don't know what parking can do. We have several of them, at least in the areas that I drive through. There's 141 right off of Bangor. They're all weekend. Like I said, we have up to 5 in my neighborhood, depending on when they're home and back. I understand the code enforcement procedure very well. We have one that's been parked now for almost 3 weeks in the driveway. It was parked on the street. It was ticketed 3 times. So they move it into their driveway. Now it's sitting in the yard. Hopefully, once their 10-day, I'm sure they're using their 10-day grace period. Hopefully it'll be gone. But when the one neighbor sees it, it's, they all want to bring their semis. A couple of weeks ago, and I'm bringing this up. Nancy Day said something about the aquatics department at West Valley being one of the top. It's not. When you compare to the other ones around the city, especially Kearns, they have regional meets, city meets, several schools that meet there. They have water polo, diving, pre-seal training, a lot of other stuff over there. Their aquatics program, where it comes to water aerobics, is top of the top. All but one are AEA certified. And why is that important? The AEA is like CALIA to water fitness instructors. It's very hard to get. Once you get it, you want to keep it. Nobody at West Valley City has that. There's instructors there that don't know the difference between intensity being a measurement of how hard you work, and interval is a measurement of time. There's instructors that teach land Zumba to water fitness. You can't do that in the water. And if they were AEA certified, they would know that. Other facilities encourage ongoing training and individuality on their programs. In West Valley City, from what I've been told talking to them, that does not happen. I'm running out of time, so that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else that wishes to speak during the public comment period? All right, we will close the comment period and ask if there's any comments from the city manager who is online.
No, ma'am, thanks.
Okay, thank you. Any comments from the council? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to our public hearings for the budget, and I'll turn the time over to Mr. Pyle.
Thank you, ma'am. This first public hearing is for the quarterly reopening of the city's budget and contains a number of different items, including construction projects, rollovers, grant receipts, other miscellaneous unexpected expenditures throughout the 3-month time period. And council has seen this for a couple of weeks beforehand, so no further description from my part. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any comments before we open the public hearing from the council? Okay, we will now open the public hearing to the councilors. Anyone that would like to speak on the budget opening? Okay, seeing none, we will close the public hearing and I'll turn it to the council for comments or a motion.
I move for approval of ordinance 22-23.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Ms. Kamic?
Councilman Fitzie Umanu.
Aye.
Councilman Whitstone.
Yes.
Councilman Harmon.
Yes.
Councilman Hune.
Aye.
Councilman Christensen.
Yes.
Councilman Nordfelt.
Yes.
And Mayor Ling.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on to our next application that is a public hearing. It's application Z6-2022. Mr. Pyle?
Thank you, ma'am. This is a public hearing to consider public comment on a proposed zone change at 4625 West Lake Park Boulevard. And the applicant is looking at doing a change from manufacturing, which is currently, to business residential research park, which would fit the surrounding property and adjacent development.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Mr. Pyle? Seeing none, we will now open the public hearing regarding application Z6 2022. Anybody want to speak on that? Seeing none, we will close the public hearing and I will turn it to the council for comments or a motion.
I'd move to approve ordinance 22-24.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Ms. Kamic?
Councilman Nordfelt,
Yes.
Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
Councilman Hune,
Aye.
Councilman Harmon,
Yes.
Councilman Whitstone,
Yes.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu,
Aye.
and Mayor Ling.
Yes,
Motion passes unanimously.
thank you. We will now move on to our resolutions. We have resolution 22-93. Mr. Pyle?
Thank you, ma'am. This is for the 2022 asphalt polymer treatment project. We used to call this the slurry seal project. And what we do is take preventative maintenance by applying a seal, an overlay seal to a number of the roads as designated throughout the city. This one, this program would be $312,153.
Okay, thank you. I will now turn it to the council for comments or a motion.
I move forward for approval, resolution 22-93.
Second.
Second.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion and a second. Ms. Kamic?
Councilman Fitzie Umanu,
Aye.
Councilman Whitstone,
Yes.
Councilman Harmon,
Yes.
Councilman Hune,
Aye.
Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
Councilman Nordfelt,
Yes.
and Mayor Ling.
Yes,
Motion passes unanimously.
thank you. I will note for the people that are new to this in the audience today, we do have a study session the week before and discuss all these. So we're moving through them very quickly, but we have had time to study them and ask questions. So we're not just buzzing through. All right, we'll now go to our unfinished business, which is 22-87.
Thanks, ma'am.
Mr. Pyle, sorry.
Yes, no problem. So this is unfinished business because we had a previously considered resolution for approving $1.2 million for expansion of the bike park over at Centennial Park, 3100 South and about 5600 West. As we were waiting on HUD approval to get their contract and paperwork side done, we had asked for a delay on this, but that has now been complete. We just got word this afternoon that HUD had completed that. So we are now able to bring it forward to you for your consideration. So unless there's other questions on detail of the project itself, that's it.
Okay, thank you so much. I will now turn it to the council for discussion or a motion for resolution 22-87.
I'm really excited for this construction and the bike park addition. And so I'll move for approval of resolution 22-87.
Mayor,
Second.
it looks like Councilman Harmon has raised his hand to make a comment.
Okay. Councilman Harmon, did you have a comment?
Yeah, I just had a question if, and we can just get an email back on this, but I was just curious what the breakdown is for the funding on that. It says it's partially park impact fees and partially CDBG. Just curious about how that breaks down.
Yeah, absolutely. I can send that back to you, but Nancy, who is online, may actually be able to give you a little
Great.
closer. I know we've talked about this project quite a bit. I think that's why I'm going to let Nancy speak. I think the CDBG amount is $1 million plus, and the park impact fee was just a kind of a supplementary piece. But Nancy, if you've got that tighter than I do.
Yes, Councilman, great question. So the CDBG funding for this is just over 1.1 million. So it's like 99% grant funded. A very small amount will be coming from impact fees.
Thank you. I'll second Lars's motion.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion and a second. Ms. Kamic.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu,
Aye.
Councilman Whitstone,
Yes.
Councilman Harmon,
Yes.
Councilman Hune,
Aye.
Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
Councilman Nordfelt,
Yes.
and Mayor Ling.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, thank you. We do not have a need for a closed session, so we just have one motion left.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, and we stand adjourned. Thank you so much for those who came up.
3 more meetings.
Yep. So now we will turn the time over for our other 3 meetings. We have our Building Authority, Housing Authority, and RDA.
Um, Well, Scott Harmon, the chairman for redevelopment agency, the meeting, the regular meeting tonight, but he's online, so he asked me to do this. Here we have a regular redevelopment agency meeting here, and the location here is at 36 Constitution Boulevard. And right now is, I believe is 6:45. Roll call, so everyone is here, is area council member is here, except for Don Christensen and also Scott Harmon is electronically. Approval of minutes, we have May 3rd is for approval of minutes at May 3rd, 2022. So I need the motion and also the second for that.
I'll move for approval of the May 3rd, 22 minutes.
Second.
Okay, so I have a motion, we have a second. So any opposed? None. So the vote was, motion, pass. I'm gonna call the motion for this approval of minutes is those are in this favors of this motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. This motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Number 4, the report of the Chief Executive Officer. Is that Wang Pyer? Do you have anything to say tonight?
No, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Item number 5 is a public hearings. We have a public hearings tonight. Is the item, I believe, is that A and B. This one I can open the public hearing for tonight is resolution 20-02, and anyone wants to speak for this resolution 22-02, please come up to podium and have a comment on it and anything you want to say for this resolution. None. So I will turn it over. I will close this public hearing and I will turn it over to the council for motion or action or comment.
Chair, I'd move to approve resolution 22-03.
Okay, we have a motion and we need a
Second.
Did you say 02 or 03?
02, sorry.
Okay. With that, I can second the motion.
Thank you. We have a motion, have a second, and this is the budget. Mr. Pyer just says earlier in the regular meeting, and I will turn this over to Mr. Kamat for roll call.
Mr. P.T. Simonu,
Aye.
Mr. Whetstone,
Yes.
Mr. Hune,
Aye.
Ms. Lang,
Yes.
Mr. Christensen,
Yes.
Mr. Nordfelt,
Yes.
and Chairman Harmon.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Item B right here, also the budget 2022 and 2023. I will open this public hearing for this motion. For this budget 2022 and 2023 resolution 22-03 to the public. Is anyone wants to come up and say something about this resolution, to please come over to the podium and have your comment or something you want to say about this resolution. Maybe I will ask Mr. Wang Pyer, maybe you can say something about this one first. So people.
Sure. Yes, sir. So
please.
the budget was originally considered at the beginning of May and through the process in the spring preceding that. Tentative approval of the redevelopment agency was given in the first week of May. The number has not changed since then. There have been no changes in the budget. Budget total is 17.6 million, spread across 14 different project areas through the city.
Okay. So no one speaks for this resolution 22-003. So I will close this. I will close the public hearing. We'll turn over to the council for the motion, action, or comment.
I move for approval of resolution 22-03.
Second.
So we have a motion, we have a second right there, and we'll turn over to Nicole Kamat for roll call.
Mr. Nordfelt,
Yes.
Mr. Christensen,
Yes.
Ms. Lang,
Yes.
Mr. Hune,
Aye.
Mr. Whetstone,
Yes.
Mr. PT Simonu,
Aye.
and Chairman Harmon.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Oh, thank you. The last motion is the motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay, thank you. So we adjourn. Please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So we adjourn.
Call to order the regular meeting of the Housing Authority. Note that all of our members are present either in person or online. Our next item of business is the approval of the minutes from our May 3rd meeting.
I move for approval of those minutes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion regarding this motion? Since we have some online, we'll just, without objection, that is approved. So hearing no objection, we approve that unanimously. Mr. Piles, do you have a report for us?
No, sir. Thank you.
Will you please introduce the first public hearing?
Yes, sir. So the first public hearing this evening is for consideration of the quarterly budget reopening. There is one item, I'm sorry, there's two items under the budget opening. One is for a rollover of some fees that were used for COVID-19 response and in the amount of $137,000 and some change. And then the second item is for receipt of an extra $1 million of additional funding as granted by HUD.
Thank you. With that introduction, we'll open the public hearing for this item. Is there anyone here who would like to speak regarding this? Seeing none, we will close the public hearing for the reopening of the fiscal year 2021-2022 budget. And we go back to the authority. Any discussion or motion?
Motion to approve resolution 22-02.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion or questions? All right, we'll turn to our secretary for the vote then.
I just wanted to make a note that Mr. Harmon has left the meeting, so just for the record. Mr. PT Simonu?
Aye.
Mr. Whetstone?
Yes.
Mr. Hune?
Aye.
Ms. Lang?
Yes.
Mr. Christensen?
Yes.
And Chairman Nordfelt.
Yes,
Motion passes unanimously.
thank you. Our next item is also a public hearing. Mr. Pyle, will you introduce that, please?
Yes, sir. Thank you. So the Housing Authority final budget approval for this evening to be considered is the same status as the RDA budget that was just considered previously. Tentative approval was given in the first week of May. None of the numbers have changed since then. So this is the same budget that you were considering at that time. The final budget amount is $350,000, mostly used for the purposes of administering Housing Authority vouchers for rental subsidy.
Thank you. All right, with that, we will open the public hearing for the fiscal year 2022-23 budget. Would anyone like to speak to this item? Seeing none, we will close the public hearing and turn again to the agency for a motion or a comment.
Mr. Nordfelt,
Yes.
I probably ought to clarify a comment as well. There's actually two parts of this budget. As I'd mentioned, the numbers have not changed, but the vouchers and rental assistance part is actually $4.5 million, not the $350,000 is for a separate project, the Campbell Court project. So I forgot to state part of that.
Okay, thank you. Did that change anybody's mind on their public comment? Okay. All right, to the agency then.
A motion to approve resolution 22-03.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, we'll turn to the secretary for the roll call vote.
Mr. Christensen,
Yes.
Ms. Lang,
Yes.
Mr. Hune,
Aye.
Mr. Whetstone,
Yes.
Mr. PT Simonu,
Aye.
and Chairman Nordfeld.
Yes,
Motion passes unanimously.
thank you. We just have one more item.
Motion to adjourn?
Without objection, we will stand adjourned. That passes unanimously. We are adjourned.
Great. Last but not least, I'll call to order the meeting of the Building Authority. And note that all members are present except for Councilmember Harmon, either electronically or in person. First item on the agenda is the minutes from the May 17th meeting. Is there a discussion or a motion for those minutes?
Move to approve those minutes.
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. Pyle, is there a report on the Building Authority?
No, sir. Thank you.
Perfect. Thanks. Would you please introduce the first item on the reopening of the budget?
Yes, sir. So like the other two entities, we also have an budget opening item for the Building Authority, and a note probably is in order to explain again, the Building Authority is basically a legal entity and vehicle for administering the debt servicing of various bond and capital projects that we do throughout the city. In this particular quarter, we have one budget reopening in which we received the $6.5 million or authorized that for the court building project, which is now ongoing. So those bond proceeds will be received in this quarter in that amount, 6.5, or whatever the bond proceeds end up being.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak to the reopening of the Building Authority budget? Hearing none, I'll turn it to a council for comments or a motion.
I'd move for approval of resolution 22-03.
Second.
Motion and a second. I'll turn it to Ms. Kamic for a vote.
Mr. PT Simonu,
Aye.
Mr. Whetstone,
Yes.
Mr. Hune,
Aye.
Ms. Lang,
Yes.
Mr. Nordfeld,
Yes.
and Chairman Christensen.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Great, thank you. Mr. Pyle, would you please introduce the 2022-23 budget?
Yes, sir. So as in the case of the RDA and the Housing Authority, the Building Authority is considering its final budget adoption for this evening, or for the upcoming year on this evening. And the numbers, again, have not changed since the tentative budget adoption that happened in the first week of May. The various projects through which Building Authority funds flow total $7.145 million this year.
Great, thank you. Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak on the 2022-23 budget for the Building Authority? Hearing none, I'll turn the discussion to the council for comments or a motion.
I move for approval of resolution 22-04.
Second.
Motion and a second. Ms. Kamic for a vote.
Mr. Nordfeld,
Yes.
Ms. Lang,
Yes.
Mr. Hune,
Aye.
Mr. Whetstone,
Yes.
Mr. PT Simonu,
Aye.
and Chairman Christensen.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you very much. And with that, I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you.
Will and Lars,